It's loading. It's loading.
Okay. Looks like we're live here.
Yeah, you got it?
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, everybody. I'd like to say thanks for joining us here and coming on Real Talk with Real Estate Investors show. Boy, treat for you today. Whalen, boy, I tell you what, this is pretty awesome that we have him on here today, guys. He has accomplished just about everything that you can think of these days. You know, with anywhere from real estate to you name it. He's had 675 million views of his posts and videos. Man, the guy's got a wealth of knowledge, you know, to really share with this group, not just with real estate, but mindset, life, you name it. You know, I'd like to say first off, you know, welcome to the show.
Dude, thanks guys, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
Keep the smoke out of here. I'm smoking a cigar in my house. I don't normally smoke in my house, but I'm like, I need a cigar. Well, I want a cigar right now, and I get to talk to you fine gentlemen. So I'm like,
Yeah.
might smoke out in my house a little bit.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, so of course, myself and Pedro have been following you for quite some time. I think that actually, oddly enough, the first time that I came across you, I came across Ryan 𝗬𝗵𝗲 around the same time. And you guys were out banging on some doors or something in South Dallas, you know, trying to do a flip and make some friends and so forth, right?
Old school, yep.
I'm here in Dallas as well, and I got to thinking when I saw that video, what are these guys doing in my backyard right here, you know, because I do a lot of that stuff too, right? But man, you know, that's what got me hooked. You know, I started following Ryan, started following you. And, you know, the more that I dug into your story here and you know, I realized, man, you've got one of the most awesome stories that are out there. You've done it all, you've lost it all, and you've done it again, right? And so, you know, I really want to say thanks, you know, for coming on to do our show, because I know that you can share some really great real estate tips and, you know, on flips and so forth. But what I'm really hoping that folks really, you know, are able to take away from this show today is, you know, listen, if you're in a position in life where you feel like you're stuck and you can't overcome it, and you know that you want to get somewhere, but you're just not sure how to take that first step, I know that you can help with that. And, you know, for the folks that have been doing pretty well, but just don't know where to scale from there, man, I think your story is going to be a great inspiration for everybody that's in the group. We've got about 16,000 folks here and growing. So
Nice.
You know, kind of let us know just a little bit about your background, kind of how things, you know, came together, and, you know, just kind of where things are at now.
That's a long ass story, bro. I mean, I was raised in a single parent home. I mean, my story, a lot of people, maybe they know it, maybe they don't. They read my book. I talk about it in there, but I was raised in a single parent home. I've always been kind of a hustler, entrepreneur mindset since I was a little kid. I did the 9-to-5 thing for a couple of years in my early 20s, and I got fired from my last job and never really looked back. And so I've been an entrepreneur working for myself, built multiple multi-million-dollar companies since I was in my early 20s. So really like the last 21, 22 years. I found a lot of success at a young age. I fit the box, right? Like we've been programmed to believe certain things, like this is what success looks like, and this is what wealth looks like, and this is what knowledge looks like, and all this shit. And I fit all those boxes. I was a self-made multi-millionaire by 25. I made a lot of money in the mortgage industry. I built a mortgage company and then parlayed that into real estate investing and started buying houses and buying properties and flipping and developing and all that stuff. And had the house, had the cars, had the wife, had the kids, had, you know, success, right? You look at somebody who's successful and you're like, oh, that guy's successful. But I didn't know why the fuck I was doing it, you know? And I talk about in my book how I felt like I was juggling bowling balls. Like when I was at the office, I needed to be home, but when I was at home, I needed to be at the office. And, you know, I kind of dating myself, but like, I'm always on my BlackBerry and my wife's mad, but I'm like, how do you think we can take all these trips and travel? I got to be connected, right? And so I was never really present, and that grew animosity and resentment, and she resented me, and then I resented her, and we hear a lot of people go through a lot of these same things, and I was kind of the extremist. I've always been the extremist. I'm always all in with shit, and when the market crashed, one of my companies was losing millions of dollars, my development company, which if you were in the development space in 2008, you just got fucked, and what it is. But my other company, which was investing in REOs and stuff like that, just exploded with growth. And we did almost 4,000 transactions in 4.5 years. One of the largest REO investors in the country. And in the midst of all of that, I decided to burn my world to the ground. And my one company went bankrupt. I left my marriage. I don't know what a midlife crisis is, but if it means like leaving your company, leaving your marriage, literally sticking your head up your ass for a couple of years, that's what I did. Some guys go out and buy Ferraris or Porsches or whatever. I just burned my world to the ground and said, fuck it. So, you know, that's kind of what's led me to this place here is I checked all those boxes and did all that stuff. I was the success story who really didn't have any idea why I was successful, why I was doing it. And I ended up burning everything to the ground. And it's been a fascinating story. I realized how many people relate to it. Obviously through the age of social media. I mean, I was doing flips in real estate before 𝗧𝗵𝗲 ever came up with Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So it's been quite a journey, man. It's been quite a journey.
Well, wow, that's pretty impressive. So kind of going back to you kind of getting started with real estate, can you kind of walk us through that, how you kind of got your start, how you kind of found your deals, you know, kind of where things went from there?
I was actually, I worked for the Marriott Hotel. I was a salesman. And I was like the top salesman in the company. And it was really funny because like I would literally hit our annual budget for the entire hotel with my one demographic, like in a month. And, you know, I would get a free night stay at a courtyard. And I'm like, for real, motherfuckers, like this is the corporate world. Like I just literally outperformed every other one of these people in like 30 fucking days. You're gonna give me like a $99 a night hotel room. Like it got me butt sore. And I tried to take my boss's job. Like I went straight to the general manager, like, yo, he sucks. I need to be here. And anyways, they ended up getting fired. And it was in that period of time where I started, like, I had a brand new home, brand new baby, new marriage. And I was like freaking out because this is like, I was supposed to have this job and have the paycheck every 2 weeks and the health insurance and the whole thing. And I dabbled a little bit with selling cars and selling insurance. And I saw a bunch of dudes, you know, in the early 2000s making money in mortgages. And the real estate market was booming and the whole thing. So I got into mortgages, and I've never really done anything like typical. And I think that's what makes me a good coach, a good investor. I think that's why we did so many real estate deals and why my business, like whether it's meters, whether it's lines of sheep, they grow because I'm not looking at everything the same way that everybody else is. And so when I saw the mortgage game, I realized that, you know, there's two different types of people. There are the people that just kind of wanted to buy their dream home, which it's a total freaking scam in and of itself because nobody's ever going to live in a place for 40 years anymore. And then there's the investors who are all about the cash flow and wanted the money. And so we developed this PowerPoint presentation where we showed people how to strategically use certain mortgages, and it just took off. And so just to kind of give you an insight of how I grew a mortgage company so fast, I only wanted to work with investors. And so I was like, all right, cool. If I want to corner the market on investors, like how do I get to the biggest group of investors? And at the time, I don't know, you probably have a lot of mortgage people on here. You're trying to put your name with the realtors and get your name in the magazines and get a billboard and a radio show. And it was just like, dude, everybody was doing that. I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, how do I get to the largest group of investors? And so I started looking at property management companies. I'm like, okay, property management companies invest or manage investment properties. So I started glad handing and going to the property management companies, and they were all realtors and taking golfing and becoming friends. I'm like, yo, you guys manage how many properties? Like 4,000. I'm like, we've got some really cool mortgages like that a lot of your owners would probably want to see. Like, what would it look like if I put these little events together once a week and you invited all of your clients because they like you, that you're managing their asset. And I did a presentation. I said, benefit, it's a win-win for everybody. We can help them free up some cash flow through, you know, refinancing or buying or different, you know, financial strategies. You're going to provide them with new assets because you're the realtor. And then I'm going to end up getting all of the deals, and then they're going to double, triple, quadruple their portfolio. So to make a long story short, I drove down to Vegas every single week for almost a year, and every Thursday night did these PowerPoint presentations, and we were just crushing the game, and word spread, and we were doing, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars of transactions, and we started it from nothing. And I just saw like this was a strategy. People like want to have certain results, and most mortgage guys would go into the game going, okay, what do you want? Well, they don't fucking know what they want. Like, why don't I do strategy? Why don't I tell them, hey, what's your short-term goal, long-term goal? Cool, try this, try this, try this. And so I became known for that. And then I just started parlaying most of that money into real estate, into my own deals. 2005, 2006, 2007, the market was exploding, was growing, and then everybody got their dick knocked in the dirt. But in that time, we started looking at tax deed foreclosures and REOs and stuff. And because I had done mortgages for the years prior, I knew what was coming. I knew what was happening with the adjustable rates and da. So I knew there was about to be a fucking huge wave of foreclosures coming. And so I started traveling the country, meeting all of the REO agents. And so a lot of people talk about buying from the bank. Nobody was buying from the bank unless you're Warren Buffett. So I found the next best thing, which was when Chase wanted to foreclose on these 36 properties, they had an agent that they hired. So I just went out and found all the REO agents, said, I have a fuck ton of cash, send me all of your deals. And so now I had literally an entire army of agents literally sending me deals well before they ever hit the market. And they knew that I was playing with cash. And so that's how we were able to do so many REOs so fast, is I just, went out and saw things differently. So that's kind of been my niche in all of my businesses, and what I'm doing is I look at things differently. The masses follow and do the same thing and put up web pages and try and get leads and all this other shit. And I'm just like, I just see things a little bit differently. So that was how I made as much money as I did, and did as well in the real estate game as I did. I mean, we were in 11 states. We were doing $1 million a week in sales and 40, 50 transactions a week, buying and selling all over the country. So it was fun. I used to joke with people that I played Monopoly with real money, and it's what we did.
Well, you did a great job at it, man. And I tell you what, if I'm not mistaken, did you do a deal with Donald Trump or get involved with Trump at some point?
I did. So back in 2005, I mean, I'm making a ton of money as a young kid. I mean, anybody who was old enough in that game knew like what was going on in the mortgages, and we were just making so much money. And so I found a huge piece of property down in southern Utah. And this was during the time when Trump was building his tower in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Him and Wynn and Wynn's across the street, and Trump's doing his deal. And I found this huge chunk of land, 1,200 acres, and I wanted to develop it into a luxury resort. And so I went to Jack Nicklaus, and I got Jack Nicklaus to come out, and he designed 36 holes. And we were going to do like one of the most exclusive developments, and I owned the whole thing. I was the developer behind the entire thing.
Right.
We had Golden Door Spa. I mean, the luxury of luxury. And one day I just thought to myself, I'm like, all of the casinos and all of the hotels in Vegas have their own golf course, the big ones. Wynn's got his, they all have them. I said, I wonder what it would be like if I could pitch Trump to not only come in as my development partner, but show him that it was actually a shorter helicopter ride from his tower to my golf course, my resort, than it was to send his VIPs out to like Lake Las Vegas or whatever. So I had a buddy who was friends with Larry King, and he was in my office one day, and he's like, hey man, how do I get into real estate? I said, why don't you get me a meeting with Larry? I knew I didn't really need to meet with Larry or want to meet with Larry. I really was trying to get to Trump, and Trump and Larry were friends. He literally made a phone call and set up dinner with Larry down in Beverly Hills, and we jumped on a plane, flew down there, and we're doing dinner with Larry. And Larry turns, he's like, what can I do for you? I'm like, well, we're real talking. I want to meet with Trump. I need a development partner because, way bigger than me, and I need a big name. And I mean, Trump at the time was like, I mean, anybody who's been in the real estate game that read Art of the Deal, he was like the Godfather. He was the dude that we were all trying to be like. And so the next day, Larry called and said, hey, I've got a meeting for you tomorrow, in fact, with Donald in New York City in his office. And so we flew home. He flew the CNN jet out to Utah, which is where I was at. We jumped in the jet. We landed in New York at like 2 a.m. And at 9 a.m. the next morning, I was sitting in Trump's office pitching him real estate deals. So it kind of dated. It was during the Rosie O'Donnell spat. So he spent 30 minutes talking about Rosie O'Donnell, and my buddy was there. And of course, the connection with Larry. So I'll never forget, as long as I live, sitting there, and people always ask me, like, what's your scariest moment of your life? It was when I'm sitting there and he turns to me, he literally says to me, "Kid, what do you want?" That was all he said. I'm like, I'm like 27 years old, you know what I mean? Pitching this guy a deal. We had a 30-minute meeting. It ended up being about 3 hours, and he brought Don Jr. in and Ivanka in, and Ivanka ended up being kind of the head of running the project. And so we communicated with him, and she flew out to Utah and saw the land. And this was 2006, 2007. And then the market took a shit, and We went from this thing being like the grandest project that every bank wanted to be involved with to nobody was touching anything luxury or anything like that with a 10-foot pole. So all unwound, but it was really cool. So I stayed in touch and helped them with some social media on his presidential campaign. And Don Jr.'s become kind of a friend. And so it was a cool deal.
Man.
But you know, that proves something. That proves that in reality, Donald Trump is not the closer. That's you, because you close him.
There you go.
I'll go
I
with
like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not the closer, it's you.
Dude, man, like, look, we don't need to turn political. Like, I'm a big Trump supporter. I know the guy. Like, I've hung out with him a couple of times. And I mean, I'm not like long lost college buddies with him, so I can't attest to that. But I know his son and I know his daughter and I know the family, and I've spent enough time around him. I mean, he's a really good freaking dude. And you might not like his morality and whatever, it doesn't fucking matter, but they're a really solid family. He's a smart motherfucker. He is smart as shit. So all these people like, he's a dumb buffoon, but I'm like, bitch, you have no fucking that dude.
Look at the bank account.
That dude literally won the presidency with social media. We met with Kim Jong-un, whatever, with fucking Twitter. So I mean, like, pump your brakes. We're trying to talk shit about Trump, but I won't go down the political path right now.
So
you mentioned. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to kind of piggyback on what you just said there with the power of social media. Man, things have obviously changed for our benefit with technology and social media over the past several years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit and share with us a little bit about how that's impacted your growth and, how that's kind of got you to the point where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, we could spend a day talking about
Sure.
this. I do a lot of coaching and a lot of consulting, and I told you guys we dropped some nuggets in here that I typically drop with like my clients and stuff. But I mean, people don't realize what social media really is or what it's become, And this is the reason the name of my company is Lions Not Sheep. I realize that there's very few people that really look at what's really happening, right? We're so superficial in our communication and our relationships and everything. Like, most people will read a headline of a news report and freak the fuck out, not even know the story, not know anything about it. And the media like knows what they're doing. They just dangle the carrot. Everybody runs this way, and then everybody runs that way, and everybody runs this way. And that's really like what marketing is. That's what sales is. It's like, who can come up with the most outlandish fucking headline to rip you in and get you to go? And it's been fascinating to watch, not only politically but with business and stuff. And what most people don't understand is what social media really allows you to do. I mean, it's reality TV, right? It's your own broadcasting network. I mean, this is literally your production company. I have almost 1 billion views right now, 900 and something. You said 6, that was an old bio apparently, but almost 1 billion views with this. Like, production company, green screens, literally this. And what so few people understand is like the dynamic and what it really allows you to do. Realtors, mortgage brokers, coaches, tech developers, anybody, right? We're using it and consuming it for the most part of just being entertained. And that's ultimately what most entrepreneurs don't understand. I mean, the wealthiest group, the largest collective group of people on this planet that makes the most money. If you ask anybody who that would be, most people would say, well, CEOs. Not even fucking close. Not even close. The wealthiest people on this planet, the largest collective group of these people, you know who they are?
Who's that?
Entertainers. You know how many CEOs made as much as The Rock last year? Very few.
Right.
You know how many CEOs made as much as a baseball player or a basketball player or a soccer player? Very few. Or an entertainer? Very few. I mean, when you think about like the Kardashians, oh, fuck the Kardashians. Dude, they're geniuses. They're fucking smart as shit, which is why they continue to stack cash no matter what happens, right?
No doubt.
And what I saw with social media, it was like, I used it like everybody else used it a number of years ago. And I watched, fat kids falling off skateboard videos and blah, 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 and shit talking about this. And then all of a sudden I shared this post about my divorce, and it was raw. And it was like a challenge from my coach to stop being such a pussy and start telling the truth. And one day I told the truth, and it was weird because it was like this really raw post about how I fucked things up and how I was a dick and da-da-da-da. And it ended up going viral. Like, I don't know what viral means, but it had like millions of comments, millions of, likes and shares and the whole thing. I went from 200 friends to almost 60,000 followers in 13 days. I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
You even had
That's
Oprah.
crazy.
All I said was that I was an asshole. Like, why is that so big? Like, why do you guys like this shit? Well, I learned like two things with that. Number one, I felt better, right? And we can get into the personal development conversation here about, you know, why, you know, Jordan Peterson talks about truth so much, why you hear me constantly talking about tell the fucking truth, tell the fucking truth, tell the fucking truth. Because at the end of the day, like if you're trying to run fast and you're lying and you're full of shit about who you really are, what you really believe, I mean, you know, you're carrying around these rocks in a backpack and you're trying to sprint. And at the end of the day, like it just boils down to you telling the truth, right? You're going to be judged no matter what. I'll tell you about that in a second. But like the second thing was that I realized how many people resonated to my message. And my message was just my life, right? Like I don't have a silver spoon. I don't have a connection to Facebook. I didn't boost ads and run shit and all kinds of other stuff to build this social media following. I just started telling people the truth about me, about being a father, about being a husband, about divorce. I mean, every single day, all of us are living life. Sex, money, politics, religion, divorce, depression, bankruptcy, suicide. We all know somebody who's depressed. We all know somebody who's dealing with suicide. We all know people that are going through divorce. We all know people that are down. We all know people that are making millions, losing millions, that are fat, that are skinny. We all know all this. But we don't talk about any of it because it's not socially acceptable. It's not politically correct, right? And what I looked at and I realized through that first post was, well, shit, if I can talk about this and millions of people like resonate with it, what would it be like if I just continued to share me? And so over the last couple of years, I mean, those of you that know who I am or have seen my videos or followed anything, I mean, a lot of people think that I'm some dude who like turns on some alternate personality for social media. I'm the same dude. You're hanging out with me, smoking a cigar in my house or freaking running around or on social media, whatever. Like I talk about everything, right? Like, cause I'm experiencing everything. Everything's happening right now in my life with kids and bills and things and businesses and up and down and markets and algorithms and technology and all of this other stuff, right? I just chose back then to use this technology to do what I think it's meant to do, which is just really allow people to expose who they are. But most people won't do that. And that's the reason most people's social media is irrelevant and insignificant and they don't know how to make money with it. But you know, you look at a guy like Ryan, you look at a guy like me who shares. I mean, Ryan talks about the fact that he was in prison. Ryan talks about the fact, you know, blah, 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 blah. He shows his cars, he shows his shit. People know who he is, right? Again, let's talk about Donald Trump for 2 seconds, right? What did you have on Donald Trump when he ran for president? He liked pussy? He liked chicks? We've known that for 30 fucking years. The whole world knew that. So what were you going to say about the guy? How are you going to freaking find some chink in the armor or skeleton in the closet? And like people that want to talk shit about me, oh, Sean went bankrupt. Well, no shit. I've been talking about it since fucking 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, right? That's the reason like people are interested in my stories. Like, oh shit, you made millions and then lost it. And now you come back. Like that's the difference. And that's what social media really is. And what most people don't understand is the power that it has to build your own personal brand, to build a following, to do deals. You know, I run a coaching company and a technology company and a bunch of different companies. If you went to my social media right now, you won't see me selling anything. You won't see one fucking thing for me saying, if you buy today, yet I'm literally making 7 figures a year in a coaching company. I have 600 clients around the world. I spent $0 marketing to them. Get them. Why? Because I just keep sharing me. What do people naturally gravitate towards? Why do you follow certain people? Because they're entertaining. Because they're interesting. Maybe you agree with them. Maybe you don't agree with them. I don't know what it is. Maybe you follow me because of money or this or this or this or fitness or whatever. Like when you stop and think about it, like most people don't do social media that way. And they're afraid to tell their story. They're afraid to share their truth. Yet the single most powerful thing that you have to make millions of dollars is this device right in your hand.
Boy, ain't that the truth. And I'll tell you something too, that, you know, one of the reasons that, you know, I joined up with Ryan or linked up with him years ago and you know, gotten to know and follow you over the years as well is, man, you guys really resonate by telling the truth and speaking to your audience and no bullshit, just straight to the point and giving people what they want. Cause I think a lot of folks these days are just looking for somebody that's real in a world where there's so many fake people running around out there. And so many fake people on social media and so many fake people trying to sell their shit to whoever and whatever else. And you guys aren't like that. You know, you guys are never trying to, obviously, you know, everybody's got products and services and everybody's trying to make money, but you guys are not about, selling to your audience so much. It sells itself because the way that you convey your message,
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, it's like, why do you follow somebody, right? I mean, if you think about an entertainer, what does an entertainer do? They entertain. They share, whether it's fiction or fact or whatever. Like, I just realized that those two things happened when I started sharing my truth. Like, I realized that I felt better just by exposing who I was. Like, when I ran for Congress last year, like, what are you gonna fucking find out about me? Google me and you find it all out anyway. So I got nothing to hide. But I also realized, like, that's what people are looking for. You know what I mean? We do business with people that we like, that we trust. We do business with people we can relate to, right? And so why not take that marketing approach, that reality approach with your social media and build like a tribe of people who follow you and like you? Like, I always laugh when people are like, I'm going to go do my social media purge now. I'm like, that's the fucking dumbest shit. Dude, like, what? You're going to sit down and go,
real
asshole. That's like fucking dumb, dude. You want to know how many people I purge from my list? I don't. I just keep sharing my truth. And the people are like, fuck you, I'm unfollowing. I'm like,
takes care of itself.
I don't know who you are. I'm not going to know who you are. I don't really give a fuck. I just keep going. And the people that resonate kind of keep coming in. And they observe and they consume and observe and consume and observe and consume. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. I'm in. I don't have to sell you. You're already sold. Like,
That's right.
The best salesman on this planet never have to sell.
That's right.
The best
best
salespeople never have to sell. Now, there's a ton of people that are probably listening to this who are like, oh, fuck you. And you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're living proof, man. You, Ryan, and a lot of other folks, for sure. And social media has made a huge impact on myself and my business over the years. I know the same thing with Pedro as well. I think it just proves it right now that we're having this conversation. I remember a couple years ago when Ryan was, talking to us about, stepping into your perfect day and being able to have those conversations with the folks that you connect with and so forth. Man, at that time, you and Ryan were, I was like, man, that'd be cool to speak with these guys or interview them one day or maybe even share the stage or whatever. And just having this conversation just goes to show you that, man, step into your dream and make it a reality. It can
just tell the truth.
And social media can absolutely be that platform.
That's literally all you got to do. People, I mean, there is without question, like what days to post and what times and all that stuff. That's easy. But just tell your truth. Just share who you are. Like, that's the thing. Everything's happening, right? Like, you're experiencing your life. You're dealing with things. You're experiencing things. You're watching the news. You're dealing with children and wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and that. It's like, we don't share anything. We don't talk about any of it. We just like clam up and say, well, it's not socially acceptable to talk about being depressed. I've told people that I put a fucking 9mm in my mouth and almost blew my goddamn brains out. You can't talk about that. Every post I put up, people are like, oh, Sean, you're going to lose your tribe and lose your following and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, people have been telling me that.
Happens, you get more, huh?
People have been saying that for 3 years, and yet it keeps going the opposite way.
Sure. Well, because people can relate, man. I know there's a lot of folks out there that are listening and that have been in the same situation that, man, life has a way of happening to us sometimes that, we don't see it coming, right? But it doesn't mean that it has to stop us in our tracks. And there's opportunities out there to get to where you want to be and to live that dream and to pull yourself out of any shit, it's been lingering or whatever else. And I'd like to talk about that for a second is, for the folks that are listening right now, have seen what you've done with social media and how you've used that to build an empire. What advice might you give to them, for folks that are just getting started, that are seeing this and saying, look, I've been scared, to make a jump. I've been scared to do this, the risk, and they start thinking about all that stuff. What advice could you give to them to do? Hey, look, jump in.
Dude, it's risky to walk across the fucking street, man. It's risky to turn your gas range on. You hear about people's fucking houses blowing up. And I mean, literally think about that for 2 seconds. Like, what are you really scared of? I was talking to a group last year and I mean, when you really stop and think about this, like people aren't afraid of failing. Let's be real for a second, okay? Both of you, all three of us have fucked up so many things in life, it's not even funny. And truth be told, I don't know if you got one person or 100,000 listening. Like, every one of you motherfuckers listening to this has fucked things up. You've all made mistakes. Like, I speak a lot. And how many of you made a mistake? And I'm like, cool. How many of you like me and double fisted? You made a ton of mistakes, right? Everybody has fucked shit up. No one's afraid of making a mistake. No one's afraid of, most people have already lost money. Like, you're not afraid of losing money because you already did it, right? You're not afraid of like a business failing or whatever. They fail every fucking day, right? People aren't afraid of failure. What people are deathly afraid of is being judged.
You're right.
People are definitely afraid of being judged, of their friends going, oh, see, I told you Bob was going to fuck that thing up. I told you they were going to lose money. I told you that idea was dog shit. I told you it wouldn't work. We're afraid of being judged. And so we sit in a place of paralysis where we don't say what we want to say. We don't put up what we want to put up. We don't market how we want to market. We don't launch the deal. We don't make the call. We don't do what we know we want to do, what's burning inside of us, because we're worried about some asshole on the other side of the planet making a comment on our social media, or crazy Uncle Larry, or my fucking mom, or dad, or business partner, or pastor, or whatever, judging. Here's a little newsflash for you. No matter where you go in life, no matter what you do, I realized this a couple of years ago, which has probably been one of the single greatest things I've really come to understand and embody. No matter what you do in life, you're going to be judged. Okay? If you're rich, it's because you're a snake oil salesman. You for sure got to be ripping people off, bro. You're a fucking dirtbag. You're slimy. You're whatever. If you're poor, the opposite of the spectrum, because you're a lazy piece of shit. Because you're undisciplined with your money. Because you blow it on freaking hookers and beer, whatever. If you're ripped out of your mind, I get this all the time. Show what kind of steroids you're taking. Because I'm fucking 41 years old and I'm yoked. If you're fat, it's because you're undisciplined. You eat cheeseburgers all day. You're just another piece of shit. Like, no matter where I go in life, whether I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm fat, I'm skinny, somebody's going to judge my ass. Somebody's going to talk shit. It's just the truth. And this is what holds people back. We literally don't do anything we want to do. We don't say anything we want to say. Not because we're afraid of failing, but we're afraid of somebody judging us, talking shit about us. And that's literally what holds people back. It's what creates the most paralysis of anything out there. And I think what people need to understand and really understand is, no matter what you say on social media, someone's going to talk shit. I could post a picture of my dog and people be like, he hates cats. Because I fucking like dogs, bitch. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be judged. So what I saw and what I realized is, no matter what I post, no matter what I say about politics or sex or money or religion, whatever, somebody's going to talk shit. Somebody's going to judge me. But the more I share, the more I realize people resonate with it, the bigger my business grows and the better I feel. So which is more important to me? Some fucktard that I don't know making a comment, or my empire, my success, how I feel?
Boy, that's
And I guess, and eventually you're also going to influence that people that is posting those hating comments and all that stuff, because eventually you're touching their pain points too. You know?
There's no such thing as a hater. There's no such thing as a hater. Like, here's the deal. If you follow me, bitch, you're a fan. You're a fan. If you follow me just to talk shit, you're a fan. Stop and think about it for 2 seconds. How many people do you follow that you genuinely don't like? No one. No one. So if somebody's on your stuff, always talking smack, that's a fan. That's why the only time I'll block somebody or I'll delete them or whatever, is if I say something like with like a racial slur or something that like Facebook's going to shut me down for, or they like just fucking mock people, or they like talk shit to somebody. Like, I'm okay with talking shit, but if you like make fun of somebody or talk like racial ethnic bullshit, I just block people. I leave people, because at the end of the day, like, if you're following somebody just to talk shit, you're a fucking fan.
I know story.
No doubt. So a lot of this led up, to, I guess I'd like to kind of learn a little bit more and kind of you tell us a little bit more about the lions, not sheep, and what you've got going on with that, and how it's really made an impact, not just, really, well, just around the entire world. It's become a global phenomenon. So, tell us a little bit about what you got going on with that.
So a couple years ago, I was going from, we were flipping houses, single family homes, and I wanted to get into apartment complexes. So I called one of my buddies and we went out to lunch, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, hey man, like, teach me some capital stack structures, whatever. And he's a really good friend of mine. And he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to get out of single family. I'd rather own like 100 doors on 6 acres and then 100 doors over, 6 zip codes kind of a deal. And he's like, do you want me to be candid with you? I'm like, so I was sitting here, bro. He's like, ride the wave. Ride the wave. So what do you mean? He's like, for some reason, people love what you say and they gravitate towards it, right? And you're helping a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are finding success in your story and your journey. And not just that, but like what you teach and like how you built the relationship with your ex-wife and how you built a new business after, crumbling one. And it was in that moment that like I realized like I wasn't really passionate about real estate anymore. I was good at it. I could make a ton of money doing it, but I wasn't passionate about it anymore. And what I was really passionate about was this movement, this conversation around lions, not sheep, and around people like living life versus business and the whole thing. And I had come up with the idea. I was looking at a clothing catalog, believe it or not, of this European company, and it was like lambs, not something. And all of a sudden, like lions, not sheep, just popped into my head. So I called my buddy, and he owns a screen printing company. He said, hey man, can you make me a t-shirt that just says lions, not sheep? So I picked out the font and the whole thing and sent it to him, and we made just one t-shirt. And I was wearing that t-shirt and posted a picture on social media one day, and somebody was like, dude, that's badass. How do I get that shirt? And I called him back. I'm like, so can we make some of these shirts? Like people want to buy them, I guess. And so that was kind of the beginning of Lions, Not Sheep. There was no coaching with it. There was no program. There wasn't the Lions Den with hundreds of members and any of that. It was just me. Like it vibed with me. It resonated with me. It was like I had lived most of my life as a sheep, even though I was very successful and had that corner office kind of a deal. Like I was just following what I thought I was supposed to do and what I thought I was supposed to say. And so Lions, Not Sheep for me has just become like my mantra. It's what I embody. It's what I want to live every day. Like when you stop and think about it, I mean, a lion does whatever the fuck he wants.
That's right.
When he wants to eat, he goes and kills something and eats. When he wants to lay his ass under the fucking trees, he wants to fuck, he just goes and fucks. Like he doesn't fucking ask for permission to do shit. He just goes and does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. I mean, people say that's insensitive, that's whatever. Doesn't that just kind of sound like a great life? Like when you get hungry, you go eat. I mean, you do what you want to do versus what everybody's telling you to do. And just over the last couple of years, as more and more people have reached out and like, Sean, let's talk about business, let's talk about this, let's talk about whatever. It's just grown. And so I've got the Lions Den, which we've got about 500 members in all over the world. And we talk about my book, the principles of Core 4 and daily rituals and structures and power, passion, purpose, and production. Like, how did I go from, today's the 5th. I had spine surgery 1 year ago today, December 5th, 2018. I had like major spine surgery. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in right now. And technically I was just supposed to start lifting weights about 3 or 4 months ago. And I was ripped out of my mind 6 months ago. So how did I do that? Like the mentality around a lot of these things. And then I work with a lot of coaches, like a lot of not coaches, but I coach a lot of executives, guys who my avatar from 8 years ago, which was I'm working 20 hours a day. I'm juggling the bowling balls. I make a lot of money. I have a lot of shit, but I don't have a life. And so that's kind of been my real passion is helping people understand that building the life is really, that's the hard part. Making money is easy. Flipping a house is easy, right? You can buy a piece of shit house, get a contract. I mean, it's all math. It's just simple, right? That stuff's easy. What's really difficult is living life, like building a life that you really fucking want, that you really enjoy, that you're really passionate about, something that that motivates and pushes you and drives you. And that's what I'm finding to be like people's biggest struggle. You know what I mean? And we've been programmed and taught to build businesses. And then when I have time, then I'll go do fun shit and all of these other things. And I did that. And I worked 20 hours a day and I had 170 employees and I paid $30,000 a month of healthcare benefits for my employee. I did all of that racket. And what I found is that was what led me to being really unhappy. I had tons of fucking money and tons of success, but I wasn't happy. And so through this journey of mine, I've learned that like what a lot of these moguls and people that have come before us have been trying to tell us, we're not listening to this. I mean, if you read every biography of every baller, every mogul who's come before us, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Steve Jobs, they all say the same thing. They all say the exact same fucking thing at the end of their book. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would have spent more time doing the things that I wanted to do and I would have spent more time with my family. I consider myself a pretty smart guy, right? Like, you consider yourself a smart person. And Steve Jobs is on his deathbed giving you his parting advice, like his golden fucking nuggets. And we do the exact opposite, but we're in the hustle, grind, hustle, grind, hustle, grind. Gary V, I got to put 8,000 videos out a day or else I'm not going to be successful. I got to work 20-hour fucking days or else I'm not going to be successful. I got to have 72 fucking Lambos in my driveway or I'm not going to be successful. You're literally doing the exact opposite of what these moguls are telling you to do. This is a guy who's on his deathbed who's worth $1 trillion saying, I would give all of that up to go back and to be able to be where Sean's at 40 years old. And so I'm looking at it saying, all right, I am 40. What do I want? Like, what do I want to do? What kind of life do I want to live? It's not hard to make money. I mean, there's people selling rocks with holes on it making money. There's dudes selling rubber penises making millions of dollars, right? It's not hard. There's a dude literally making millions of dollars selling dildos right now. People are like, I don't know how to make money. It's so fucking hard. We're like, wake the fuck up, dude. Why don't you use your smartphone for something smart? Stop
No doubt.
about it. Like, that's what I'm about. That's what Lions Not Sheep is. It's about living life, building a life. I want to be the dude in my deathbed, which I'm never going to end up in my deathbed. I'm going to drive my race truck off a cliff or blow myself up with too much tannerite or some stupid shit. But like, I want to be the dude at the end of my life where I'm just like kick back, like, cool, I'm out. I don't need to like have any parting words for my kids because they just watched me live life. They watched me do it. I don't need to tell them to go be good. I don't need to tell them to live their dreams. They watched me live mine. And that's like my entire mission and passion with Lions Not Sheep is helping people build life, like build a real fucking life that you enjoy. And you know what I've found to be really good at is I reverse engineer it. So instead of like building this massive business and then saying, okay, how do I find time to have a life? Fuck all that. What do you want? What kind of life do you really want? Like envision that, live that. You want to go race the Baja, you want to surf it. What do you fucking really want to do with your life? Once you can identify that, which is really what most people struggle with. Once you identify that, then you just build the business around it. Cool, this is my life, this is my lifestyle. I want to live in this kind of house, drive this kind of car, awesome. Here's what you're gonna have to make to do that. Great, now let's just go build the business that supports that. And that's the exact opposite of how we've been programmed, how we've been trained, how we've been taught, and really what I'm good at, because I did it both ways. And I can tell you, I'm much fucking happier now working 2 to 3 hours a day, making the money that I make, doing whatever the fuck I want, than trying to compete with the hustle and grind and hustle and grind and hustle and grind. For what? Have a bigger social media account than somebody else?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And we all have fallen that mistake of the hustle grind. And I have experienced that too for the past 6 years as well, you know, and I went through a situation where I found myself having some legal issues, and just because I wanted to grind and do all that shit, and it didn't serve me anything, you know. But yeah, and now I'm rebuilding that part of my life where I just want to be raw, share that story, you know, because I know there's people that needs to hear that. And but yeah, I just want to be happy. And you're right. Well, I love what you do, man. I really love what you're doing.
It's the same here too. And I think, you know, a lot of us, you know, at some point just have to, you know, the light bulb's got to go off and know that, hey, you know, we've got one crack at this life, you know, we don't get another shot at it. And as soon as you know, you can have that awakening and realize, hey, look, you know, everything that I could ever want in life is absolutely possible. I just got to figure out what it is that I want, and then start designing a game plan, you know, to in a process, you know, to get there. And so
I've asked millionaires, billionaires that same question. And I'm finding that it's the hardest question for a human being to answer. What do you want? Because really what 99.9% of people will do is they'll lie. Not that they want to lie, they just don't know how to say what they really want. And that's like a really fascinating observation. For me as a coach, you know, as somebody who helps people with this, is seeing that one of the hardest things people struggle with, the thing they struggle with the most, is just telling the truth. Like, what do you really want? Like, if you think about it, nobody really wants to work. Like, really think about that. If you had an option to go on the beach with your kids and play and throw the football all day long, or go to an office, which would you pick? You pick the beach. Yeah, but I'm all about the hustle and the grind, hustle and grind. No, fuck you, bro. What do you really want? Which would you want? That's what I want. Well, it's not possible to do that. It's not that. That's wishful thinking. Is it? Is it? What if it's not? What if, like, your programming has you believe that you have to be in an office for 20 hours a day for the next 20 years in order to achieve some sort of level of success, and then all of a sudden you end up in the same spot where these guys end up, and you're like, oh, fuck, I did it wrong. Then you don't have any options. Like, that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is something happened to one of my kids. My biggest fear. I've had this reoccurring nightmare for the last couple of years, and it literally like wakes me up and I'm like drenched with sweat. And I'm on my deathbed and I realize that I'm about to die and I can't go back and do anything that I wanted to do. Because at that point, like what we alphas, whatever you want to call us, like producers, like we have options. Like imagine not having an option today. That's fucking scary. If that doesn't scare the shit out of you, I don't know what does. Imagine having zero options.
The moment of truth right there.
That scares the shit out of me. So every day that I wake up, I'm like ridiculously, tremendously blessed and grateful because I realize I have another day to do what I need to do, to say the words I need to say, to build the life that I want to build. Because at some point in time, I'm going to be an old, decrepit ass man, and I can't go race the Baja 500 with my boy. I can't go ride horses with my daughter. You know, I was down in Baja earlier this year with my son. We were racing the Baja 500, and we're standing there going through contingency with my truck, and this guy came up and he's like, "Hey, you're Sean Whalen." He recognized me from social media. We started talking. He's like, you know, he recognized my son. He's like, "You must be Will." My son Will's in there driving the truck down, and you know they do the big parade of the trucks and the whole thing. And he's like, "Man, this is on my bucket list for a long time." He's like, "At some point in time, I want to do this for my son." I'm like, "Well, why don't you do it?" "Well, I got 3 kids in college, and I got the job." And I said, "Let me ask you a question, bro. That if you took, like, I can connect you right now with a company here in Mexico that has full-blown race trucks you can rent. It will provide the race suit, the helmet, the whole fucking thing. You literally get in and you fucking drive for 15 grand. You race the Baja 500 for $15,000, like your lifelong experience." I said, "Would you even notice if you took 15 G's out of your retirement or your 401k or your IRA? Would you even notice that was gone?" He was like, "No."
No.
I said, "That's the difference between me and you. Is you're waiting for some euphoric moment to go then live life. I got it. My financial advisor says I need to be here. I got to be here. All the fucking bullshit that's like we've been programmed to believe." I said, "Homeboy, at one point in time, your ass isn't going to be able to physically race this race. So even if you had $1 billion, you couldn't do it. You could have all the fucking money in the world. You couldn't go back and buy that weekend horse riding trip with your daughter. You could have $1 trillion. And once you start thinking like that, bro, that's when the game changes. That's when life changes. That's when you realize, like, holy shit, dude. You know, I don't want to leave my kids legacy for me isn't leaving my kids a bunch of apartment complexes and real estate and money. Legacy for me is having all 3 of my children become wildly independent, wildly successful on their own because they've watched their dad do it for the last 20 years. They make their own millions. They don't need to split up daddy's money. That's legacy. Like, that's the game that I'm playing. It's like, that's the reason I live the life I'm living. Not because I got a silver spoon. I mean, I got a single mom. Like, my mom's a single mom. I haven't talked to my dad in fucking years. I got nobody around me bailing me out and forking over money. I got no trust fund. But I realized, like, a long time ago, I'm gonna fucking die. That's not morbid. But at the end of the day, I will never, my son just got done with 8th grade football and I coached his team. I could have all of the money in the world and I couldn't buy back this 8th grade year. I couldn't buy it back. Yeah. So all of you dudes, all of these entrepreneurs, all these ballers, all these dudes, like, I want you to think about this for a second. You could ball big, man. You can have every goddamn car, every fucking thing under the sun. Like, one of the things that like broke my heart was the beginning of this football year. Like, the league sent out an email and there was like 5 teams that didn't have a coach. There's 22 kids on each of these teams. That's over 100 fucking kids. Not one of their motherfucking dads would go coach. "Oh, I gotta work." That's some crazy shit. When you really stop and think about that. "Oh, I don't have time to coach my kid's team." What are you doing? What are you doing with that time? What are you doing with that hour a day? "Well, I gotta. What the fuck you gotta what? You gotta what? You gotta work? Cool, bro. Eventually your kid's gonna graduate high school and you're gonna go, "Oh, well, dad was working really hard for you." Ah, shit. And then you can't do anything about it. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to downplay dads and talk smack, but this is real talk. This is where I'm fucking living. This is like who the fuck I am. And at the end of the day, like, this is how I coach. This is my message. This is who I am. Because I realize, like, that shit's coming for all of us. Grant Cardone's going to die. I'm going to die. Y'all are going to fucking die. The question is, like, what story are we writing today and tomorrow? Because I can tell you, like, every single father who had their kid play some sport this year and you were too busy fucking working to go coach the little league t-ball and they're this, they're that, or whatever, you could make all the money in the world and you won't be able to go back and buy that. And I can tell you the thing that's legacy, the real meaningful shit, the shit that's actually going to live forever ain't your money. Fuck your money. It's just not dollars. It's just zeros. It's zeros.
You're right. And that's why I think okay, you know, it's not so much about the money, it's about the freedom. For sure.
You're right. And like my lad says,
that's what Lions Not Sheep is, bro. Like you asked me what Lions Not Sheep, that's Lions Not Sheep. That's me. That's what's burning inside of my soul. That's what's inside of my head. That's why I'm so passionate about this shit. That's why I do what I do. Because I realize, like, I'm not going to have another shot at this year, at this day, on this call, with this thing, with this date night with my kid, with this race, with this football season, with this game, this one game. I'll never get it back.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why we love to have you here, man, because that's the truth that we like to bring here to the group and really share what is real, you know, not all that bullshit that you find out there and all that scam of getting rich quick and all that stuff. There's a process. There's more than money to live for, you know. There's life, there's family, there's stuff that we need to take care of, not only fucking money, you know, like you said. And you're right. And that's kind of like, I think me and my wife, we're working on living that life of like, we just want to enjoy, you know. We just want to enjoy. Like last weekend, I was like, I went to see my sister in Oklahoma that I haven't seen her for 6 years. And we were like, okay, we just moved. We spent a lot of money. Like, fuck that. I'm not going to miss this opportunity to go see my nephews. The last time I saw them, they were kids. Now they're teenagers, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's true, man.
You're right, man. Appreciate you bringing that truth, man.
Sean, I know that you're a busy man and your time is limited. You know, so I just want to kind of ask one more question that me and Pedro were both kind of wondering about, and maybe, you know, I don't know if there's any group questions that we've got there, Pedro, or not. Maybe we could get some of those answered. But I'll tell you what, one of the main questions me and Pedro were wondering, and I'm sure some folks on the phone are wondering, is how do we get a badass beard like that?
I love it, man. I just one hunting season, I just didn't shave it off, and it stayed, and just here it is, man. It's crazy.
Here we are, huh?
Gray. There only used to be two little bit gray pieces here. Now it's getting gray, so I dig it.
It looks badass, man. Yeah, the gray hair, that's the ultimate beard, man.
People like, you diet? I'm like, fuck no, that shit's like, that's classy, man. I'm gonna be like, smoking my cigars, drinking my whiskey, big ass white beard, white hair.
I like it. Do we have any questions there, Pedro? You see anything there?
No, really, man. We don't have any questions right now.
No
but
questions.
Let's give a couple of seconds and see if somebody has some
You
questions.
got a big ass group and none of them got questions.
Come on, guys. This is the time to ask. You know, this guy has done it all. Listen,
I haven't done it all, man. I love that you say that, and I appreciate it. I love the love, but I haven't done it all. I've just done what I've done, and it's what it is, man. I mean, that's the thing. Like, people are scared to ask questions. People are scared to look stupid. People are scared. You look more stupid not asking questions. You know what I'm saying? And asking questions. Like, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting time to be alive, man. It really is. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people are waking up. I think a lot of people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know? And I mean, if you're in this group for any reason, like, you know, trying to figure shit out and live a better life and build bigger shit, I'm way more concerned about me and my family and my well-being than I am some asshole's idea of what a dumb question is.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I know that we've got a lot of folks in this group that are aspiring for that better life and that want it. And I think that you, again, you know, you've kind of laid out the approach that you should take to get there, you know, and sometimes you just got to say, fuck it, and just hop in.
You just have to do it, man. Look, I mean, this isn't hocus pocus. Like, I'll leave you guys with this thought, unless you got any questions. Like, this isn't some hippy dippy rub crystals on your nipples bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm quote unquote as alpha as anybody out there, right? I've had 5 MMA fights. I've done the Ironmans. Like, call it what you want, right? I don't give a shit. This is real. Like, this life is fucking real. This isn't like we don't get another shot at this. And I don't think people realize that. And people haven't woken up for the most part to the reality. Like, you create whatever the fuck you want. Like, literally, you create whatever you want. And like, the idea is that you know, I'm a big reader and I love freaking studying. I'm big in like 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏 𝗧𝗹𝗏 and Jordan Peterson. And like, blowing my mind lately. But like, you know, Jordan Peterson talks about this. 𝗏𝗏 𝗏 talks about this. He's like every single thing that you believe, every single thing that you know right now was programmed into you. The real question is like, what if that was all wrong? How do you know? Like literally, did either of you choose to speak English? No. Did either of you choose your name? Nope. You were told what was right and wrong, and since you were a little kid, you were programmed what good and bad was. You were programmed to believe what you believe. Stop and think about that. You were programmed to believe what you believe about religion, about everything. Like that's the game. The real game is understanding like, what if, I mean, statistically, man, more men are killing themselves than ever before. More men killed themselves in 2018 than during the Great Depression. You wanna know why? It's not for lack of money. It's not because there's a lack of pussy out there. Why? These motherfuckers like have no idea how to live life. They're like trapped animal. We're fucking primal creatures, bro. We're trapped in these cubicles and these boxes of political correctness. And like, by what? By people that programmed us this way? By what, our parents? I mean, ask yourself this question. Would you want your kids to grow up like your parents? Would you want your kids to have your parents' life?
Nope.
Fuck no. Fuck no. What do we want? We want our kids to have a better life than us. But yet, what are we doing? Programming them to do the same shit we're doing. Say the same shit we're saying. This is what's right. This is what's wrong. This is what's good. This is what's bad. What I'm finding is more and more that people aren't asking any questions. They don't question anything, which is why they keep getting the same results.
That's right.
Well, we have a question from Sean. Well, actually, he's asking, what was your biggest learning from going through 75 hard?
That I was operating at such a small capacity, like just how small I was really playing, like what I'm really capable of. 75 hard changed my life, and it's not just a fitness thing. The smallest benefit for me was that I got ripped. Like I've never had a six-pack before in my life, but that leads into the story, like the mental game. Both my parents are heavy. Both my parents are fat. So my whole idea was like, yeah, I'm strong and I can lift and I work out and whatever else, but I'm always just gonna have that dad bod because my parents are fat. Now I'm ripped out of my fucking mind. I'm like, oh shit, maybe that was a total lie. Maybe that was a total story in my own head that I was literally living and believing for the last 40 years. And so 75 hard changed my mind on a lot of things and like what's capable. And if you ask Andy, I mean, dude, Andy is making $500 million a year right now, right? I mean, he flat out said the same thing. Like, I realized how little I was playing. So you want to expand, you want to stretch yourself. Like I can't tell you how many nights during 75 hard it was 12 o'clock, 12:30 at night. I still had to go do my 45-minute, outdoor walk or whatever. And I'd be I'd throw my shoes on, I'd lay on my couch and I'd fall asleep. I'd get up and it was like that. You're tired. Your body needs rest. All the same stories that I had been telling myself for years and years and years and years. I'll make that call tomorrow. I'll send that email tomorrow. I'll do that deal tomorrow. And I would just get up and shit. Some of those nights I was like sleeping when I was walking, but I did it. And at the end I was like, all right, like I'm not even close to playing ball yet, and that's not talk. I mean, it's just, that's what it is.
No, and I can give faith of that because I also did the 75 hard and I noticed the same thing too, like it is incredible how you can start developing beyond the limitations that you put to yourself,
Yeah,
we're
freaking carnal creatures, man. We lie about shit, we hide from shit. At the end of the day, that's what 75 hard did, is it ripped me open to a whole new level of what I'm capable of doing.
Nice.
Well, hey, Sean, we sure appreciate you coming on today. For the folks that are listening and the folks that are in the group, how can folks find you or get in touch with you?
Just go to my website, 𝗏𝗏 lions.sheep.com. Go check me out there. And everybody needs to download meters. This thing's about to blow up. It's already growing. It's already expanding. Go download meters and share it with everybody that you know. Our goal is pretty freaking substantial in Q1 of 2020. So I want this to be the biggest app on the planet.
All right.
Can you explain the people watching a little bit more about your new app? I know that I just downloaded and I'm going to start looking at it because it's like a network app, right? It's network.
The simplest way to describe it, it's like Tinder for entrepreneurs and business owners. It allows people and gives people the ability to create real-time instant meetups, meaning if I'm in New York and I've got an hour in between meetings, I can go screw around on Facebook and sightsee or whatever, or I could turn on meters and it will show me other people that are on as well that are right around me that want to meet. So it's not like let's schedule lunch next month or next week or tomorrow. It's like, I got 30 minutes right now. Who wants to go grab a cup of coffee? And the only people you'll see when you turn on the app are other people that are immediately around you who want to do the same thing. So it's the mentality of networking, of growing, of building new relationships. I mean, there's 1.5 million business travelers every single day that are flying to here for a conference tomorrow or a meeting tomorrow, or whatever. What do you typically do? You get there, you go to your hotel, you dick around on social media, you send some emails, And what would it look like if you had a tool in the palm of your hand that allowed you to meet with other people everywhere you go and build new relationships and network with new people? I think that's why people really freaking like it. So it's a tool that the market has gravitated towards and likes, just because social media is slowing us down. You know what I mean? I'm an instant guy. Like, I don't want to plan lunch with some stranger for a month from now. I don't give a fuck about that. But like, I got an hour right now. Who wants to go grab a cup of coffee? That's what it does.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah.
We need a huge base. We need a lot of people. The more people on there, the better the app will be. And so we're really new. I mean, we just launched it here a handful of months ago, and we've got about 40,000 users right now, and it's growing every single day. But we've got a huge marketing push and things that are going to start happening at the beginning of the year. So plan on seeing it everywhere.
Awesome.
Nice. That sounds great, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if
hey,
there's anything else you would like to add, man.
You guys are awesome. You rock stars. Keep going, dude. Keep kicking ass. Keep spreading the message. Appreciate you having me on the show.
I appreciate
coming
you for
on.
taking the time, man. Yeah.
Cool.
all right. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure. You take care. We'll see you guys later, and until next time.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.